When you say like certain people, it's like, okay, dude, yeah, I guess you could make the case that like grape is bad for certain people.
No.
For certain people.
No, it's bad for everyone.
No, it's only bad for certain people. Here,
Andrew.
like there's women, you agree, who have orgasmed during SA.
That has nothing to do with whether it's SA.
Bro.
That has nothing to do with whether it's SA.
Good evening, subscribers! All those who aren't subscribed yet, but if you're not subscribed, what are you doing, ho? I know why I started my video like that. You're not really a ho. And actually, derogatory terms against women is not a laughing matter. I'm just excited, okay? I've got my Monster Energy, which, by the way, boycott Monster, but I didn't realise they were on the list and I already bought them, so I might as well finish them, otherwise doesn't really make any sense. I won't be buying any more after this. Today, we are going to be having a look at everybody's favourite right-wing grifter, Andrew Wilson. Who is he, you're asking? Yes, all right, I didn't know either until some clips of him went viral. But before we start, I'll point out all of the things about me that these right-wing conservatives who get really arsey at me are going to point out. Yes, my fringe is yes, my face is full of piercings. Yes, my tattoos and piercings together make me look mentally ill. Anything else you want to get off your chest, get it off your chest now before we get into looking at this absolute bell-ends clips. Andrew Wilson is a podcaster who is on the Whatever podcast, a podcast that we've spoke about before on this channel a very long time ago. Recently, some clips have gone viral with him saying some absolutely just insane, moronic things, and I thought we'd kind of delve into it a bit and not take it too seriously, but also kind of take the piss out of him because I feel like he needs that a little bit. So yeah, let's go.
Another thing you could do is just eliminate anybody being able to vote until they reach the same age that they could become president of the United States.
Is that not 35? Mm-hmm. So you think that everyone under 35 should lose the right to vote?
Why shouldn't everyone under 35
that
be able?
That was the most boomer shit I've ever
Why
heard.
shouldn't everybody under 35 be able to be the president of the United States?
Well, because they don't have the... But they're still...
Yeah, that wasn't a gotcha moment, Andrew. That's so dumb. This is my problem with these people. They think because you hesitate for more than 5 seconds to think about what you've said, that means they've got you. I've got you. See? Like, wait for her response first, young man. Second of all, running a country is very, very different to having an opinion of like how you want the country to be ran, for example. So I feel like I have the basic knowledge to be able... Stop notifying me, ho. I feel like I have the basic knowledge to be able to vote because I feel like I have a good idea of what I want for the country and what I hate in the country at the moment. So I feel like I have, the intelligence. However, I definitely am not qualified, nor do I have the life experience to be able to run said country. I guess the equivalent would be like saying, oh, well, you can work in the kitchen because like you're old enough to have a job. So why don't you just be the manager and run the entire kitchen? Like if you can plate up food and take it out to the dining room, why can't you run the whole business? Like, huh? And he's like that's not a gotcha moment, you bellend. Oh. Anyway. Just try and cool down. We've only just begun. Continue, Mr. Andrew Wilson.
Why? Answer the question.
Because they do not yet have the experience in politics to run an entire country.
So,
but just because you can't run
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's making points that are very, very valid and correct. And you're not even listening. You're just going, yeah, well, yeah. And, all the comment section's always like, she's got septum piercing, that tells me all I need to know. Shout out to the guy the other day, by the way, in my comment section, that said that no normal man will find me attractive because of my piercings. Well, that's good, because I ain't looking for a normal man, biatch. Second of all, you stink. Third of all, what is this vendetta people have against piercings? You do realise I could remove these at any point and my dumb opinions will still be the same. So maybe if you had a septum piercing, you would be cooler. Okay, maybe it would change your opinions to be less stupid.
What would you do to solve U.S. homelessness?
I would reopen mental institutions, public mental institutions, and put most of them. That's what most of them are, is mentally ill, and they're homeless by choice. Most homeless people are homeless by choice or due to severe mental illness.
I think saying people are homeless by choice is an insane thing to say because, first of all, stating the obvious, yes, who picks to actually be homeless? Who thinks, I actually love this room with the roof over my head and being safe and not being cold and dying and having a lack of money and food. If you wanted to break it down to ultimately what leads people to being homeless, there are choices involved, right? Just factually, in like an actual literal sense. For example, if someone who ended up homeless chose to do a job and then the job ended up going bankrupt or shutting down, then they were removed from the job and then made homeless because they had no money to pay rent, for example. Technically, there were choices made up to that point, but they did not pick to be homeless. And furthermore, if they were homeless because of mental illness, that is not a reason to then throw them in a mental institution. I feel like there are steps before that, you know? Like, what are we talking about in terms of mental illness? You mean depression and anxiety? Or PTSD, for example? People who have been to war and then come back and have no home? You think it's fair to throw them in a mental institution? The thing is with these people, it's just a lack of empathy. Sometimes maybe they are taking some half-truths, but it's just a lack of empathy. I don't look at homeless people and go, yeah, I think I should put you in a mental asylum, actually. I think they deserve a home. I think they deserve people who care about them, and I think they deserve the government to do something to look after them. I don't think, get yourself in a mental hospital. You definitely chose to be here, you dirty scumbag. But yeah, no, fair enough, Andrew Wilson. That's a really, really lovely, sympathetic vision to have of these people. Homeless people, you know, the homeless, the mentally ill homeless who choose to be there. Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure it's a really great life.
These people were out of the mental institution.
We already had such policies, and Democrats destroyed it all. The passive-aggressive Democrats, with their bleeding hearts, decided that they were going to tear down the public mental institutions. The reason that they did it is because they sent a reporter went into one and found signs of abuse in one institution. And so they tore the entire thing down. That's why you have homeless people shitting on the sidewalks in San Francisco, and why you have them on the sidewalks in Miami, why you have needles all over the place, because these are literally.
I would find it really interesting to see how this person would be acting if he was made homeless. Like, all of these things he would be saying would be completely revoked, because how are you going to sit there then if you were yourself made homeless and say, oh, I'm here by choice. I'm here by choice and because I'm mentally ill. Like, you wouldn't be saying that. Be so effing for real. And furthermore, talking about homeless people as almost being a problem because they're on the sidewalks and there's needles everywhere. First of all, this whole like shame upon, you know, homeless people for using drugs absolutely baffles me, because don't act like half of the people saying that aren't in their local pub on a Saturday night doing coke with their friends, right? So let's not talk about drugs, because whatever homeless people got to do to get themselves through it is absolutely none of my business. Second of all, them on the sidewalks, where you want them to go, mate. I feel like homeless people doing their business on the sidewalk is just a very, very, very telling symptom of the country that we have. And I'm not from America, but we have a homelessness problem here as well as in America. So I can imagine it's pretty much the same, if not worse, in America. I don't look at homeless people taking a shit on the sidewalk and think, dirty. I think, they have nowhere to have basic necessities. They don't have anywhere to just go to the toilet. They don't have anywhere to just go and shower. This man is insufferable, and I said I wasn't going to take it very seriously, but that was a lie, clearly.
No, it was about Andrew Wilson. He brings up tone policing sometimes when people say, well, I agree with you, but I don't like the way you said it. I think it's just because he doesn't meet people where they're at, and I don't think he's...
that's a bunch of woman garbage. We have to meet people where they're at.
Yeah. This is Andrew Wilson's wife, Rachel Wilson. Perhaps just as insufferable, because what I love about people like her is that people then comment going, yeah, well, she's a woman and she's speaking on behalf of women, so there you are, women bitches. Like, take that. A woman said this too. I'm like, it's Andrew Wilson's wife. You really think they're going to have differing opinions? You wouldn't marry someone like Andrew Wilson unless you agree. And honestly, I don't like usually saying pick me. And in this case, who the f*** is picking her except the likes of Andrew, which is essentially... like, okay, you have been picked, but like, that's not a flex. She is so insufferable. And there is actually a clip somewhere of Andrew saying that like she isn't like the most attractive person in the world, which, I mean, objectively, yeah, he probably does think that, but you don't say that to the entire internet. Like, if my partner said that about me, I'd be like, okay, cool. See ya. She's so annoying. What a load of woman garbage. Oh, you're so cool by adding woman in front of that. Like, you could have just said what a load of garbage, but no, you have to be so different because you're not like other women.
The vision that you see for the world or not?
And the vision I see for the world is not going to be met through convincing a bunch of emotional, irrational women that what is reality is non-negotiable.
Yawn. Oh, guys, I hate how we're so emotional and irrational. All the comments, can we please hear more from this woman? Is it just me or is she a female Andrew Wilson? That's because they're together. Oh my God. This is the thing with people like this. They like, men really use them as a scapegoat to then harass and attack all women's views because this one woman has views that are cursed. And how overdone is it to say that women are irrational and emotional? Okay, irrational, first of all, that's a matter of opinion. Emotional, what is wrong with being emotional? Maybe if men had, in general, by the way, before I get the not all men comments, maybe if more men had more emotional intelligence, we would have a better state of the world and less women would be and murdered. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I've learned to not take being called emotional as an insult. Yes, I am an emotional being. I really don't mind that. I think it makes me a nicer, more sympathetic person, capable of growing and learning and considering other people's feelings. And also definitely not somebody who would come online and refer to something as woman garbage because I disagree with it. What an insufferable cow is all I'm going to say.
Negotiable.
Why do you
They're
have to be
all just gonna
hateful in your speech?
It's
Like,
not
you never
hateful.
say, you
It's
never,
not.
what about
This
male
is-
passivity?
It's more woman garbage.
You don't have to say it like that, though. You can just say this is
That is
this
tone policing. It's nonsense. This whole, I agree with what you said, but not how you said it. And this is the problem with giving women power, because now suddenly everyone's an HR.
You absolute twat. This is the problem with giving women power. What problem? You haven't actually said anything. You've disagreed with one statement and therefore now what? That means women can't be in power. First of all, luckily for you, we're in a society where men are more likely to be in power. So you're off to a great start. You don't have to worry about that, young lady. But second of all, I don't even believe she believes what she's saying. It's like Pearl. You know when you look into Pearl's eyes, pick me Pearl, we all know who she is. You think, you don't even believe that, do you, sunshine? Like, let's just stay true to ourselves for a fact. You know, you really don't believe what you're saying. Right-wing grifting, it's like Ollie Dobson, that absolutely insufferable moron, idiotic twat who these people claim to be trying to help men and don't believe in feminism because it's really holding people back. But anybody watching here that knows what feminism truly means, feminism in itself does benefit men in the larger sense of it. Now, a lot of people will disagree with me because they say, well, feminism isn't meant to benefit men. I would actually disagree. Feminism is trying to abolish the patriarchy. The patriarchy does, in turn, it really does destroy men. It does. It's bad for men and it's bad for women. Therefore, people like this, people like Ollie Dobson, these right-wing grifters, even female right-wing grifters, they are doing more harm than they think. Insulting women, calling them emotional, calling them stupid, women garbage. But what are you achieving here? Like, what are you actually achieving?
A man doesn't care if you go out and you advertise all the goods all the time. He doesn't really give a shit about you.
Advertising the goods. Advertising. I swear some men don't even want to hide the fact that they genuinely just see women as objects. Like, I know we talk about this all the time, how women are objectified, and I know a lot of the men watching are probably sick of hearing that, but you have to realize when we hear men use it language like that, and you can't say, well, this is just a one-off, because I hear men talk like this all the time. Advertising, right? What's advertised? Products are advertised, right? Shavers are advertised. A beverage is advertised. KSI Prime is advertised. We are not to be advertised because we are not for sale. We are not for purchasing. We are not for bargaining. We are human beings, right? And I'm sick of this idea that dressing how you want, it means that you are putting yourself up for display, right? I can, and I know we are treading on eggshells here, right? I can acknowledge that no matter as women how we feel about the fact we are dressing for ourselves, there is an element that no matter what we do, how we dress, we have internalized male gaze built into us, right? That's just, unless you have worked for years and years to get rid of that, a lot of us have it, right? In a society such as the one we are in a patriarchal society, many of the decisions we make, such as shaving, dressing, wearing makeup, may feel like they are for ourselves, but a lot of the time they are influenced by outside forces, right? But this is a very, very complicated subject to get into, because do I believe that, for example, the way I am dressed today, I'm not going to show you my full outfit, but it is on TikTok. I've got short shorts on, I've got knee-high boots, and I've got this like little crop top. Do I get dressed in the morning thinking, hey, men are going to want to see me and they're going to want to smash? No, I don't do that. The idea of men going ooga booga and wanting to like, and think like me is really not appealing to me. And I have a partner. I have no interest in getting the attention of men in general. However, there are times where I dress up in clothes that I want to dress up because I think they look cool. And that may involve showing skin, or that may not. I think it is a very complicated subject that if you want to boil it down to, you can argue that men are going to look how you're dressing yourself because that's what men do. But just because that's what men do, that doesn't mean that's what they're meant to do. And looking at people is one thing and ogling and staring is another. Looking at women and thinking, oh, she looks nice, what she's wearing. I don't really care about that. Looking at women and going, she's got her goods on display just because perhaps they have big boobs and they're showing because that's the clothes that they're wearing is a very different thing. Now, if I was to walk down the road in my underwear, I expect to get some looks because that's just not the normal thing to do. But those looks would be like, why is she doing that? Not, I'm going to bum her really hard. I don't know if that rant made any sense. What I'm trying to say is a very complicated thing. Ultimately, women are not products. Women are not to be purchased. And dressing revealing at the end of the day, it's not an invitation nor a crime. If a woman wants to dress revealing, they can. It's not that big of a deal. We can dive into, is it our own individual choice? Are there outside influences into dressing the way we do? Maybe. But what about men wearing really tight-fitting tops that show their muscles? What about that? There are ways you can reverse it, and we could go into why, how, and who all day, but just let people wear what they want to wear.
For like male attention and other male attention, or if you're dating someone who's just confident with themselves and is wearing something because they feel like they look nice, you should know the difference between those two partners.
Yeah, I do think that's a good point, right? For example, if say I'm feeling raunchy, say I'm single and I'm feeling raunchy, right? I might put on my best outfit, go outside, go to the bar, and I might know, you know what, I look good today, and I want some attention. I want to get with a man. I want to have some cock, right? Or I'm with my partner, we're going out on a date, I'm wearing a nice dress, for example, that shows these off and my ass cheeks, and I'm thinking, yeah, my partner thinks I look good and I look good, and tonight we f***ing, yeah? Two different things. Both, though, from the outside perspective, could look like the same thing. You get me? It's complete. You don't know. You cannot look at someone and how they're wearing and thinking, yeah, they really want right now. If I go to the beach, right, and I've got my fat cheeks hanging out and I'm swimming in the sea with my boyfriend and someone's looking at me, they can go, she's got her cheeks out, she wants it. And I could be with my boyfriend just wanting to be on the beach. Or I could go to the beach and I actually could be really horny with my cheeks out. And maybe I do really want to have, but you can't tell that by looking at my clothes.
Lie to themselves a lot. And oftentimes will live under a self-delusion, right? I think anybody would universally agree if a man lets another man sleep with you, he doesn't care about you. But I would take it one step.
Well, just as well, me going outside wearing shorts is not sleeping with another man while I have a partner, isn't it?
Further and say that if a man is allowing you to flaunt your goods to other men, that's basically doing the...
My goods? What the f*** are you talking about? Flaunt the goods? Oh, sorry. By goods, you mean our tits and our ass? Because they're the main commodities we have as women. You're so right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Well, even though they're just parts of our bodies, then we'll just keep them hidden. Like women, if you're thinking of having any cleavage on show, so if you are naturally big-busted, make sure you're wearing massive tops because we don't want to see you flaunt the goods, all right? Because we can't control ourselves. Yeah. Because we're lustful.
Exact same thing. It's advertising that you're available to sleep with. That's the point, right? So how can you really care about you?
I mean, that's again not true about advertising goods and saying, hey, look, I'm dressed scantily, come sleep with me. Because I've gone outside before covered head to toe in clothes and I've still had people flirt with me or make remarks to me. Like, what can I say, man? So miss me with that bullshit, Andrew. And second of all, as a fellow pansexual, bisexual, don't really know what the difference is there, to be honest, but one of them. I do not look at women dressed in a provocative way and think, what a hoe. She really wants it. I should go over there and harass her. I've never done that, you know. I've never done that. I may look at a lady and think, wow, she is a beautiful woman and I would love to kiss her gently and politely on the lips with her consent. But, you know, I don't think, hey, she wants it. She's advertising the goods. She wants to. You know, I've never done that. And it's funny how lesbians and my fellow bisexuals can control themselves, but men, no. For men, it's like, oh, booga, ooga equals want to.
enough time to get to know someone. So your hypothetical situation could be a relationship that's been like 6 months and these people don't even know each other anyway. And then it's like all of a sudden you're jealous over this person that you just met like 5 minutes ago and you're in a relationship with them.
If you're saying I'm in a relationship, I don't see how you think a man values you if he doesn't give a if you dress half naked and go to a club. They don't care about you then. They just don't care.
Well, going to the club is a very different thing, for example. Like, I wouldn't date somebody who goes to the club without me. I wouldn't. No, many reasons. Number one, I do personally believe that based off, and every woman could probably vouch with me on this one, going to the club is like going to the zoo, except you are the zoo animal. Going to the club means being ogled by men, probably being like actually assaulted. I have been to a club many a times and I have had people grab my ass. I've had people grind on me. It's a very horrible, hellish situation. So to me, as a woman who has been in clubs and literally been sexually assaulted, not to get deep or anything, but I know what type of men are in the club, and I don't want my man going to the club in that environment. It's a horny place. If my man wanted to go to the club, then I'd be like, hey, that's fine. We'll go together. Let's go together. Or cue all the "you're so controlling" comments. But both me and my boyfriend, we agree that the club is usually for single people, unless you go to a really good club that plays really good music and you go together. You know, I just, that's just my vibe. I wouldn't want a man that's out in the club all the time. My man probably wouldn't want me going to the club all the time. We both know what the club is like, and it's full of desperate, horny weirdos. Yeah, that's my point.
What conversation needs to be had when you say, you're the most valuable thing on earth to me?
Yes.
So please don't...
Thing. You're the most valuable thing. Also, my lip line is coming off, 1 sec. I love... Oh, ignore it. It looks a mess because I've been picking my lips because I have a problem. Just leave me alone. Thing. I love being described as a thing. I'm sure a lot of women do. It's very, very humanizing and makes me feel not like an object. So thank you for that.
Please don't betray that by putting yourself in the hands of other men.
But how is that putting in the hands of other men?
Because what else are you displaying it for? You guys always cope and say, I just dress like a skank so that other women will think I'm pretty. Stop lying.
Why?
It says all I need to know when a man resorts to using terms like that to describe women who show their body. And then these are the same men, by the way, that will go off and, pump, splat all over the wall. You cannot, oh my God. You know what annoys me is that this is the example of a purist, guys. This is the example of someone who believes in, you know, women's virginity being an extreme commodity to her being, right? I love how I'm in the same, I get described as a purist for being anti-pornography. Can we explain how me and this man are in any similar bracket, okay? Because we are not. And I can acknowledge, right, that when you dress revealingly, men are going to look at you. That's not me saying, though, men will be men. I'm saying we know what men do. We have been on this planet. Most men cannot control themselves from lusting after you and looking at you in a manner. Whereas lesbians and gay people and gay women can look at a woman dressed the same way and not sexualize her. We know it is possible to do that, but a lot of men just don't do that. That doesn't mean then we should cover up, because that is a you problem. That's something that your gender should figure out. And like, oh no, a woman showing her body, a beautiful woman with beautiful curves. Oh, I can't bear to look at it. Like, do you know how gay you sound? Like, do you like women? Oh, sorry to use, that wasn't gay as an insult before anyone even dare cross that line with me. You know, like, shut up.
You always think it's about men that we want to give it to.
Because here's the thing. I believe 100% if all men died tomorrow, there wasn't a single man left. There was a man wiped out virus, right? We're all gone.
Okay.
We can only hope. Except the men watching this right now, big up you, unless you're like him. Then please get wiped out by a virus, if that's okay to say.
And if you would dress like that?
Yeah, I love clothes. I think the one thing about being a woman that is really cool is dressing up.
Agreed. And actually, Andrew, if men were wiped out from this earth all tomorrow, I would go outside in my bikini that I just bought because it's so good and I can't be asked to wait for the summer and it looks hot and sexy. And guess what? I don't post videos of me showing off the bikinis that I just bought because I know what the comments would be, despite the fact that I wish I could do that. But then I'll have men going, oh, you're sexualizing yourself. No, I just wanted to show my bikini. If I could go outside with no men, God, my asshole would be visible. I would be wearing a skirt so short, and I wouldn't have to worry that somebody is going to molest me under the skirt. That's what I would do, Andrew. I would go to the club and I'd be able to wear whatever the I want without worrying that I'm going to be assaulted. And I think many women would be able to agree. Am I right, women? Would we all do that? I'm sure we would. People think that the outfits I wear sometimes are slutty. You haven't seen the half of it. But a lot of them I refrain from wearing because I genuinely do not want to be assaulted. But yeah, you're right, Andrew. As soon as all men die, women are going to refrain from going outside looking like a nun. You got us there.
And if you guys all died, I would still dress up. Even better. Matter of fact, I might go out naked if it's all just women. You know what I mean? It's just like, we like to dress up.
Yeah, women genuinely could go outside, dress naked, and we would probably be very safe. I mean, look at the statistics. Look at the and essay statistics, and let's see what gender is it mainly that are committing these crimes against women. What gender is it? Because I don't regularly hear of women assaulting other women on a regular basis. Not to start these gender wars or whatever it is that people say every time you get down to like actual factual statistics about what gender is committing what crime, because that's what people like to say. Stop turning women against men. Well, men have been turned against women for a very, very long time. That's why there are many, many murders of women every single day. You know? So, like, forgive me if I relay the facts. I mean...
To go to the store. You wouldn't spend 3 hours in front of the mirror. You'd put on...
Yeah, because I have a schedule and a...
Okay, in fairness, right? My audience is actually more women than it is men. And look at me. I'm serving right now. And it's always the ladies that are complimenting me in the comment section like queen. So, actually, I don't think that's true. I can acknowledge, however, that when I do my makeup and I get ready, that is makeup... Whether people like to admit it or not, is a result of the patriarchy, right? It is. I can acknowledge that and I still wear it. Does that make me a hypocrite? Yeah, probably. But I'm not ready to ditch the makeup. I do enjoy it. Regardless of where the roots of makeup come from, I do like makeup. Because of what the outside influences have had on women and how they make women feel when they don't wear makeup, it makes me feel like when I wear makeup, I just feel a little bit better about myself. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't, but it is that way, and I don't care. I also do like myself without makeup, though. That doesn't mean to say that I don't, but I think as women, we shouldn't be shamed into feeling a little bit better wearing makeup when that is exactly what has been set up for us. Continue, yeah.
What do you think happens to women and children in the nation if men stop defending the country? What happens?
Yeah, I mean, they would be negatively impacted.
Well, they would be destroyed, right?
Yeah.
They would be carried.
Yeah, but men would be impacted too if men stopped defending the nation. Like, we would all be impacted.
Off as war brides. So then Brian's question, which has gone unanswered time and time and time again, what the did men get out of that?
He gets his own personal freedom, for one.
Wait, what? Explain the personal freedom thing.
By going to war and fighting for yourself, you're fighting for your own personal freedom and the freedom of others, and that's something.
This is a hilarious argument to be talking about, the caption to this, by the way, is, are men actually the ones who are oppressed? Okay, first of all, I'm not even gonna, whatever. But second of all, this whole argument about what does the man get from being drafted, what do women get for being the target of what we are targeted for every single day of our lives? What do women get from that? Like, there's so, like, these people as well talking aren't even drafted. So, like, and I'm not saying, like, you can't speak on behalf of men that are, but, like, come on. It's the only thing that they can bring up, and they're not even directly doing it.
I think it's okay for men to not want to date workers, but the shaming part is what I don't like, because it causes more violence towards workers because they're more likely to get in.
No, what causes violence towards workers is the fact that they're workers. So shaming them out of being workers means there's less violence.
What? Them being workers is what causes violence against workers. I mean, if you want to die, if you want to be like quite literal, then yes, probably being a worker means you are more inclined to experience male violence. But it doesn't mean because you are a worker, you sign yourself up to have violence against you. And what she is saying is that shaming and creating a stigma and calling women derogatory terms when they are in the work industry means that they are put against violence more often. And this is a conversation that we've had many times on this channel about how we can help workers that are in the industry that, need protection, regardless whether I think the industry should be a thing or not. It will always be a thing, and these women do need to be protected. And these women certainly are at more risk of being attacked and violated by weirdos. So I don't really get what the point he's trying to make is. It's always like arguing like, oh, it's the women's fault. Why don't we all work together to find a solution instead of just saying like, well, what does she expect? Because she's a worker. Like, that's not helping anybody, is it?
The reason why this is happening to is because you do.
No, let's
workers consort with men who are more likely to be violent towards them is the point.
Yes, but why are they in that job?
Okay,
It's survival. There's many different reasons.
Yeah, but think about how silly this is. Your argument is actually women who are workers get abused. Shaming women so that they stop being workers is bad, even though if they weren't workers, they wouldn't.
Because shaming women into not being workers is not a thing. That's not a thing. That doesn't work. Like, and a lot of these women are in work because of like the literal last reason. Now, I personally, I'm in the belief that I think it is insulting to women if you are a woman who has many choices of a career and you choose to do. I do not like that. I think it is a shot in the foot to the people who are forced into the industry either because of financial circumstances or literally forced. I do not think that shaming them is going to help in any situation except cause more violence towards them. As I've just said, this is not a solution. You're just speculating on what causes violence. What causes violence is violent men. It doesn't matter whether they're in a job that is more likely to be violent. That's like saying, well, these people that work in a prison deserve to be stabbed by the inmates because they're working in a violent environment with criminals. It doesn't make any sense.
What do you bring to the table except your a bunch of baggage? Let's start with the baggage first.
I have 3 kids in a marriage for 20 years, and basically.
Oh, the male loneliness epidemic! Wow, you bought this on yourself. I'm sorry. The epidemic that has been made yourself. These type of men, right? And this is me purely addressing these type of men. So if you're not these type of men, you don't need to get triggered, right? These type of men really spawn on the earth. These white, probably pretty privileged in the money department, normal dudes. They really spawn on earth and they think, yeah, I'm going to make myself a victim of my own problems. Male loneliness epidemic, my ass. You just described an older lady, and she's not even old. She's just not 18 anymore, as having and a lot of baggage. What are you? What do you bring to the table? You don't even bring the to the table, so I definitely don't want you. You're mentally baggaged with no. You suck even more.
Basically, that's it.
That's it? Now. Do you realize how monumental what you just said was, that you have 3 children and most of your life was taken by another man for 20 years? You can't.
Again, they can never stick to what they actually believe because usually they talk about how having babies is a woman's duty. It's fulfilling and women should settle down and have kids. And then when they do those things, now they ran through and they're used up. What he means is you're not 18 and have an idea of life now, so I don't want you anymore because you are not easily manipulated and you won't stay quiet when I say these dumb things. Andrew, if you dislike women that much, why don't you go get by a dude? Seriously. Like, if you hate so much, no one's making you get involved with it. Go suck some. We don't mind. In fact, if you turn gay and you start having better opinions, I'll even like you, all right?
Give another man children, what are you bringing to the table, really?
I've never dated a man anyways that wants more children. And second of all, I'm not looking for a man to marry. And if I do find the right man, I'll marry again. However, I'm not out there searching for a man to care for me.
But if you're not, then what else are you bringing to the relationship besides, again, just your really?
I am a great cook, great cleaner.
I can't watch this anymore. I really don't need to hear her defend herself, honestly. I get why she's on this podcast, but girl, you don't need to defend yourself to no one. I don't care if you have nothing to bring to the table. You don't. Who the is someone like this to tell women that they have to bring something to the table? What do I bring to the table? Sylvanian families, mushy monsters, and puppy in my pockets. That's what I bring to the table. What do you bring to the table, Andrew? A podcast and some dumbass opinions. You suck.
What do men want us to bring to the table?
We want femininity, we want submissiveness, and we want a lack of conflict. As a woman, if you're just chill and you don't quarrel and nag, you don't even have to be good looking. Just don't annoy us. That's it. That's all you gotta be. What that
what
might
is
came
she
out of
doing,
nowhere.
though? So everything I listed basically is not enough for you, but what are you listing that she's actually doing? Just don't be annoying. So what is she doing then? Sitting there?
So-
like, you're not giving any actual
No,
like,
but
good characteristics of what you're looking for.
Submissiveness as a quality that you look for in women will always be concerning to me, will always be strange. And I look at these men and I think, damn, God really gave you something. He gave you the audacity, because what the f*** are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Sounds like you want to date a child, guys. Someone who doesn't talk much, someone who's submissive. Just get a stole at that point. You know, you really don't need to say all this online. And I don't even think you mean it. Honestly, I'm looking in your eyes and I just see right-wing grifter saying all the right things that will make women get angry, and rightfully so. I think we have the right to be angry. You guys are exhausting, and there should be a charge to use podcast equipment.
Of negative things,
of course,
is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you can go into the positive. Like,
So you
you
just
can be
want a positive
pleasant.
partner?
Yeah, you should be positive. You should be pleasant. But
Me, Skip.
Wouldn't it be sexist, for instance, for you at night to walk across the street if a group of men are moving towards you?
Yes, because I would not walk.
Oh, I don't know, Andrew. Let's have a look online and see what news articles we can find about women being raped on the street or gang attacked. Yeah, it's really sexist for me to want to avoid that happening. It's really, really sexist. What a idiot. First of all, if a group of men crossed the road because they didn't want to be on the same road as me, I'm not going to call that sexism. Do you know what sexism means? Do you understand what the term sexism is? Like, are you okay? These people always get women on and they go, describe sexism, define it. I don't think you can define it, because if you could, you wouldn't be saying this, because that doesn't make any sense. Oh my God.
I would not change what I was doing if I saw a group of women. If I saw a group of men, I would be a million times more likely that I'm going across
So are
the
you
street.
sexist?
Well, for my own protection, in that case, I would say yes.
For your own protection, in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing that, Andrew, does not mean you are correct. And you know what? She's got a really good point. If it makes me sexist, right, to use pattern recognition off of men's behavior, right, then yes, I am a sexist. I'm a misandrist. I will cross the road to avoid men because I've heard many of stories that make me feel sick. And I've experienced many of stories that make me feel sick. So I really do not want to put myself at risk. Men's sexism, however, is groping women, being misogynistic, eyeing them up in a way that no one really appreciates, raping women, murdering women, and saying nasty things about them like you did earlier, calling them a skank. Women's sexism, on the other hand, crossing the road because of the fear that has been created because of many men's behavior. What's worse, I wonder? I don't know.
Yes, I will be sexist. I'm sexist towards this group because even though most people in this group aren't going to do this, enough of them will that I feel like crossing the street, probably a good idea. And do you think men would blame you for doing that? No, they're like, go across the street. We know that there's predatory men. Yeah.
So what was the point in that then?
Women are plotting an exit strategy, so men get blindsided with this, bro.
I think that women who blindside someone with a divorce, and it's not a conversation of, I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy. You're not, meeting X, Y, or Z needs. I feel like you're not communicating with me. Maybe there's infidelity involved. Then I think that if she doesn't talk about any of that, and then just suddenly
No, she can talk about all of that, but it's still blindside. Here's the thing. Here's the problem with this, right? Is like you seem to want to take human nature out of the human aspect here. If you know that you're going to leave your significant other, right? Are you going to try to leverage it so that they have the best chance for custody and they have the best chance for financial security? Or are you going to leverage things the best possible way for yourself?
No, actually the first one. And that's what my dad did in the divorce from my stepmom.
Your dad, yes.
I think it was a really
rational, reasonable man. Yes.
I think it was a very good thing of him to do. He didn't leave my stepmom completely
that was awful
tarnished.
good of him. But do you agree with me that within human nature, if you know that you're going to exit, you know that you're leaving, right? Just like with a job. Aren't you going to try to make
job is different.
Aren't you going to try to make the best conditionals possible for the exit so that you're as financially set as possible?
Putting in your 2 weeks is not the same thing as signing
No, it's not putting in 2
papers.
weeks. Here's what you do when you change a job. You don't put in your 2 weeks.
Whatever, you quit.
You've
I don't
already
care.
arranged a job for 6 months before you ever put in your 2 weeks.
It's still not the same because you don't have obligations to that individual who you're working for in terms of emotional security.
Of course you have obligations to them.
You can quit a job.
Yeah, I know, but you still made you can quit a marriage, but you still made a agreement like you did with your job.
Sure, and I think people in marriages have a responsibility to care for the other person.
They have a duty?
In a way,
They have a duty?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think everyone has a duty. I just don't think the duties are gender specific.
Oh, they're not?
No, I don't think they are.
They're not.
I have no idea what's going on, but all I want to say is this whole idea that women, get married and then they leave and then they are benefiting from divorce is absolutely insane. The amount of women that literally cannot get divorced because they will not be financially set and will be in a position where they are worse off is absolutely insane. There are so many women that can't get divorced. I don't know why. And you know what? I really don't care if a woman wants to. Women aren't just divorcing men for no reason. Women are divorcing men for a reason. So if that is the case, then be a better partner. Now, if the woman cheats and then you get divorced, that's a different story. You can't generalize all ends of marriage with the same thing and then say that that's a woman's problem and she's
When you say like certain people, it's like, okay, dude, yeah, I guess you could make the case that like grape is bad for certain people.
No.
For certain people.
No, it's bad for everyone.
No, it's only bad for certain people. Here,
Andrew.
like there's women, you agree, who have orgasmed during SA.
That has nothing to do with whether it's SA.
Bro.
That has nothing to do with whether it's SA. Are you kidding me?
Bro, I didn't say whether or not it's SA. I said during SA.
What does it have to do with anything?
Well, bro, if that's the case, right, then was it bad for them?
Yes.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because there are overriding harms than just orgasm. I'm not saying that's not the case.
Perfect. So then here's the case then. The case is like when you say for some people, right? The reason you keep saying that is because even though it's the vast overwhelming majority of people, you want to like create this little minutia outlier. Right? Is it logically possible that there's ever been a woman who's been SA'd who'd enjoyed it?
I am not going to.
Can you answer my question? Is
No.
it logically possible?
I'm not ascribing anything to that.
Do you think
Andrew.
there's ever been a single woman who's been SA'd and has enjoyed it?
I'm not going to answer the question.
Being assaulted and orgasming is not the same as being assaulted and enjoying it. Being assaulted means it was against your consent. Therefore, if you're not consenting, you're not enjoying it. Unless it's some role play, and then in that case, it's not assault, it's role play. Everybody was commenting on this original clip going, well, this is really out of context. No amount of context, right? Even if he's trying to do one of those stupid argument techniques where you bring up one thing to compare it to another, right? Even if that's the case, why would you ever use this as an example? Why are we even trying to create an example of how some women could enjoy it because some women, while being will orgasm? You do realize, like, that the body is just set to protect itself, right? So when people talk about, oh, well, she was wet when she got, yeah, that's because the body will protect itself in a situation, just like men would orgasm if they were potentially. It has absolutely nothing to do with enjoying it or pleasure. And the fact that you would even bring that up in an argument despite any context, I don't want to hear comments about context, because in this situation that this should not be brought up. Like that guy said, hey, I'm not even going to engage with this. Orgasming and enjoyment are not hand in hand. The whole idea of enjoying an orgasm is that you consented to and you signed up for it. That's the whole idea of being assaulted, is that you did not consent. Therefore, the chances are you're not enjoying it. What a weirdo, man. Like, I don't even, this clip has been seen so many times. I don't even want to talk about it too much. There's nothing to say that hasn't already been said. Like, what a way to confuse victims as well that have perhaps orgasm during an essay, or because especially child victims of abuse, what a way to make them feel like maybe they enjoyed it because of how their body reacted. You are a scumbag, my friend. And I if he has a daughter, God help her, seriously.
Let me ask you this, though. Did she get her nails done?
I don't think she ever got her nails done. She sometimes did her own nails.
Yeah, she did them. Do you do your own nails?
I did sometimes during that time. I let her paint my nails. I'll admit it. There's nothing against that. What's wrong with that, Andrew? I know there's something. Yeah, what's wrong with that? I think it is very insecure if you think that a man getting his nails done is somehow a strike against his masculinity. I think that's pretty insane. I had no problem with it.
Did she paint them different colors?
I think it was mostly all blue, or I think all red.
Did she put sparkles on them?
No, I don't.
Did she do your hair too? Did she braid it? Did she braid your hair, bro?
I'm not.
Did she put a bow in your hair,
I'm
bro?
not engaging with your bad faith.
Why is that bad faith?
Because you're making.
I'm not demasculizing. I am not doing any sort of demasculization.
Yes,
if it is the case,
in your view, you are.
What do you mean? In your view, I'm not, though.
Yeah, because
Okay, but you quite literally are. I wonder if he ever looks back at his arguments, because you literally are. But he said he paints his nails, and then you start listing things that you believe to be inherently feminine. Let's use context clues here. That's clearly taking the piss. And you know what? Most women would pick a man who isn't threatened by femininity as a battle against his masculinity. And we're fragile. And women are meant to be fragile, but the idea of painting nails makes you feel like maybe you want to suck a bit of interesting.
If you want to deny the things that I've said
Hey,
here,
woman over there, grab me a beer, would you? Oh, did that make you mad?
No.
Can we get Oliver some water too? All right. Here, I'm going to let...
I mean, he's just trying to rage bait, right? But it just makes you look angry. It makes you look angry and pathetic. I hate when people use this humor as well as funny, because it's yeah, we get it. You do realize men actually do speak to women like that sometimes, so it's not really funny. It's just, I mean, I'm not oh, this is the end of the world, but it is just a bit pathetic, and it looks quite cringe on your behalf.
I think it's really weird that you want to have sex with 18-year-olds.
Why?
Because that's really weird.
Why would that be? That doesn't mean anything.
Power difference.
So, bro doesn't think that 35-year-olds should be able to vote if you're under 35, but he can have sex with 18-year-olds. Okay, buddy. Somebody have a look at his hard drive.
I think it's really weird that you endorse homosexuality.
Okay, sure. It's fine. That's fine.
Can you tell me? Can you give me an argument for why it's problematic? Or
Endorse homosexuality like it's some sort of cult. You know what? I'm going to start endorsing homosexuality. Guys, unless you're gay, stop watching this video. I don't care about you.
Oral. Can you do it or not, Oliver?
Just did it, Andrew.
What is it?
They are in a very different stage of life than you.
Then why should they be able to vote against me?
I'm scared for this. I don't even take him seriously anymore. You want to 18-year-olds? Okay, buddy, that's really weird. And here come the legality warriors who are going to talk about, well, it's legal, he can do what he wants. You guys should be wiped off the face of the earth like a disease. Seriously.
If you date an 18-year-old, what's the problem?
Date an 18-year-old?
Yeah.
At a different stage of life.
So?
What do you mean?
Why do you have to be at the same stage of life to date someone? That's stupid.
Because I think you should want to date.
The people like this, by the way, are the same people that would date 13-year-olds if they could in America. I'm just saying. It's the law, so I can. Okay. Smile and wave, guys.
Date someone who's on your level.
Yeah, but people fall in love, have massively dissimilar interests, different IQs.
Dissimilar interests and different IQs is not the same as different ages that are quite extreme. They are two things that may fit into that, but it's not the same thing. Me and my partner have different interests, but we also have similar life experience because we're the same age.
Different everything, and absolutely love each other. What's the problem with?
Yeah, maybe they do love each other. Maybe they do, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about power imbalances, you cretin.
In an ideal situation, of course, having two parents in the household is better.
It's going to be much better, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with that.
So how is feminism assisting with that by promoting alternative lifestyles?
Wait, but I didn't...
Feminism isn't promoting alternative lifestyles. Actual feminists don't like the idea of a patriarchy. Can we explain how that is going to corrupt children? You can have father figures and mother figures in a household and have no patriarchy. I don't understand where this crazy idea that feminism is corrupting our planet has gone. I can think of a lot of things that are corrupting our planet, and women wanting an equal, society where women and men are on the same wavelength is definitely not the reason our children are up. I can think of quite a few reasons before that. Okay, I have finished. I cannot watch any more of this man. If you guys ever want me to look at this guy again, let me know. I think there probably are more clips that I've missed, and I did actually quite enjoy it. It's a nice little change. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, you should like and subscribe.